Just talk to me a little bit about Pelé, really. I suppose you were his biographer. What's he like?
Well, I don't know whether you can spot it. Just above my head there, there's a Pelé shirt signed by Pelé to me. I can show you this. It's an invite to private dining with Sir Bobby Charlton and Pelé. And I've spent many, many hours in Pelé's company, many hours researching the book and interviewing him for the Daily Mirror over many years. And, you know, I've never met, and I've met quite a few, from Diego Maradona, Johan Cruyff, George Best, etc. I've never met anyone as more personable, has a smile on his face for everybody, never says no to a picture with anybody, has as much interest in people as they have in him. You know, he wants to know their story as much as everyone wants to know his. He is just so approachable. He was so approachable. It was just incredible just to see it. I had many occasions, you can see quite a few of them, where I had the pleasure of seeing him, and he never said no to a photograph with me. I've got hundreds of them around the house. But, you know, I've written 86 books now, and I've got to say that of all of those 86 books, I take most immense pride from the ability to have written his life story, first published in 2000 and updated in 2018. But I didn't actually want to write a biography without his permission, without his knowledge and approval. And he was suffering a bit of a dip, actually, in his life. He'd been in politics. He'd been ostracised by FIFA. Yes, FIFA could only be FIFA who could ostracise Pelé and yet turn up as they did today and suggest that every club around the world should have a stadium named after him. Every country should have a stadium named after him. Anyway, you know, it was just great to meet him so many times and to be the author of this book. But when I approached him and said, look, I'd like to write a book about you, he actually got up off his seat, gave me a great big hug, and actually said, I can't believe anyone wants to write a story about my life.
Yeah, now, there's two big footballing stories today. Obviously, it's very, very sad, you know, about Pelé, and I suppose it's that combination, isn't it, of a celebration of his life and, you know, remembering arguably the greatest footballer who's ever lived. And in the same breath now, we await the announcement, the unveiling, the press conference for the £175 million a year Cristiano Ronaldo, who possibly likes to think of himself as the greatest of all time. How do you compare the two, Ronaldo and Pelé?
No comparison, I'm afraid. You know, in fact, one of the things I asked Pelé was that, you know, who do you think might one day take your crown as the greatest ever player? I asked him at the time when Neymar was breaking through, looked an absolute world beater. Ronaldo was in his pomp. It was absolutely fantastic when I asked him that question. And Messi was the number one player in the world at that time. And of course, we had Diego Maradona. And he said to me, when my mother and father gave birth to Pelé, they broke the mould. There will never be another Pelé. And he was absolutely right. There won't be another Pelé. He is the undisputed number one. In fact, he and Mohamed Ali, in my view, are the two greatest ever athletes that ever lived.
Oh, fantastic stuff. Well, I suppose I might as well, not that it needs a cheeky plug, because you, of course, are the biographer of Pelé, but what's the book called and where can people get it?
Well, surprisingly enough, it's called His Life and Time.
Oh, there you go. OK. All right. Look, thank you very, very much. It's great stuff. In fact, I believe we can actually throw over to live pictures of Ronaldo's unveiling in Riyadh. This is just a little glimpse. That was Harry Harris, by the way, who is the official biographer of Pelé, who is coffin, I suppose you could say, is being able to be viewed by the public at Santos, where he played throughout his career, arguably the greatest of all time. We're witnessing the unveiling of a man who has potentially fallen from his status as one of the greatest of all time. I don't know. Cristiano Ronaldo there in Saudi Arabia, his unveiling. They're putting on a show and a half, aren't they, over there? Rather ironically, of course, being unveiled in Saudi Arabia. Anyway, there we go.